Today is December 16th, 2014. I dropped my car off at Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania on Monday, December 15th, because they needed it for a full day to service it for a recall of a corrosion-resistant compound application to the vehicle's frame for my 2008 Toyota Tacoma. They told me that it was imperative that this corrosion-resistant material be applied and have several hours to dry. When they called me to finally come pick it up, because my scheduled time was 5:30. They called me at 5:30 to come pick it up at 6:30. And when I arrived, I spoke with Dave in the service department of Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, and I went to check to make sure, because they said how important it was that this Teflon material was dry before driving. And I said to Dave, I said, well, it's completely wet. And he said, because they just applied it. So my question was, is it safe to drive it then? Because I was told it needed several hours to dry. And as you can tell with the rain and the water dripping down, you can tell that it was pouring rain when I picked it up on December 16th in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. And he said it was perfectly fine to drive. So I left there at 6:30, driving home in the pouring rain. When I got home, I checked underneath, and as you can see, it is completely bubbling and dripping off onto my driveway. I apologize, it's hard to show you with the light, but you can see all those drops down there of this. It is on the tire of the wheel well, and you can see all the rust that was supposed to be covered up is exposed again. So not only did they not scrape the rust off like they were supposed to, they just covered it up with this corrosion material. But since they did not allow the corrosion material to properly dry, and they gave me my car to drive home, even after I asked them, double checking that it was okay, and they assured me that it was perfectly fine, but you can tell all the rust is exposed again, and this Teflon corrosion resistant material is dripping off my truck onto the driveway. Again, this was Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, and this was serviced on 12/16/2014 at Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, for a safety recall for corrosion under the frames of 2005 to 2008 Toyota Tacomas. I would highly encourage you not to get your car serviced here. As you can tell, this is a simple task. I had to get a loaner vehicle. I left my car with them for over 24 hours, and they didn't apply this until 1 hour before I picked it up. And then they told me that it was safe to drive home, even after I checked it. You can see all those water beads coming off of this Teflon, just dripping off. After I'd asked them one last time, are you sure? And they said, yes, it's perfectly fine. This is coming from Dave in their service department on 12/16/2014 at Peruzzi Toyota in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. And my response to him was, if I can drive it while it's wet, then why did I need to leave it for 24 hours in order to give it ample time to dry, because you told me it was imperative? He said they just do that as an extra precaution, but this Teflon material does not come off. Well, you can see that that is not the case. There's all the rust from the frame and the Teflon material dripping off onto other parts of my vehicle. So not only did it not get serviced correctly, but it's actually ruining other parts of the car. Again, This was Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, that improperly applied this. What seems like a pretty simple task. Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania did not properly service this, so I'm going to send this video in to Toyota, and hopefully Toyota can fix this in some way, and hopefully this counts against them, because I think this is absolutely ludicrous, especially as a conservative customer, making sure I didn't mind staying for extra hours if I needed to, even though it was supposed to be ready at 5:30. I waited an extra hour just to ensure, and yet it's still peeled off. Peruzzi Toyota of Hatfield, Pennsylvania.